Hello, design class. Tonight our topic is balance and emphasis. I'm going to talk about both of these design principles for a bit, and then we'll do some demonstrations. Okay, so with balance, you're often trying to figure out the visual weight of the work of art. There's actual weight and there's visual weight. And actual weight is physically how much it weighs. Visual weight is how it looks in terms of is it heavier on one side, lighter on another. And one of the ways that we can play with visual weight is through balance. And balance is achieved in a composition by three means: symmetrical balance, asymmetrical balance, and radial balance. And there's some subsets of each of these that I'll go over in a sec. So absolute symmetry is one side of the composition looks exactly like the other, and I'm using an Edward Weston photograph from 1926 to demonstrate this. The wash bowl creates a circle, and then you have these two lines coming down, and then the pipe, and it's absolute symmetry. The next type of symmetry is bilateral symmetry. Each side of a composition is almost the same with some differences. So most animal bodies and the human body has bilateral symmetry. Maybe you have one eye bigger on one side than another. And in this painting by the Spanish artist Angel Corton, Coronation of the Virgin, of 1453-54, there is a sense of bilateral symmetry. You have the Virgin in the middle, two angels on each side, and some changes in the crowds on either side. We can see the wings here are at a different tilt than these wings. And then down below we have heaven, purgatory, hell, and there's definitely changes on each side. You've got cathedrals on this side, castles on this side, so like one side's the church, one side's more the secular realm. Radial balance is in a circle. So an example here where everything radiates outward from a central point is the rose window from Chartres Cathedral, often seen in Gothic stained glass. And this is from 1215. So when it's in a circle, it's called a rose cathedral, and you move inward towards the center. Asymmetrical balance is when the compositions are balanced, but they are not mirror images of each side. And this is a sculpture by Nancy Graves called Zieg from 1983. And she had to really weight the bottom of this in order for it not to tip over. If it had all been in a column, it would have been less visually intriguing. Okay, so let's talk about how you can create asymmetrical balance. Most of Western art history has dwelled on symmetrical balance, especially the Renaissance painters. But with Baroque art, and then certainly in the 20th century with modern art, we get a lot more asymmetrical balance. You also, in Asian cultures, there's more use of asymmetrical balance in compositions. Okay, so I'm going to do some sketches here. Just some rules of thumb for varieties, and maybe I should do this in a pen so it's more clear for you all to see. Okay. Well, my pens are getting worn out here. Oh, that one's out. Alright, I'm going to use this ivory black pencil. It's actually a colored pencil. It's like a pastel. And I'm just going to start to go in, and I'm going to keep this just the basic shapes. So I've got this circle, and I can emphasize parts of the form if I want to. You look up the cubistic painter from the early 20th century, Leger, he's French. He was really good at taking the human form and innovatively creating geometric shapes to replace those forms. So I'm going to do like maybe some shapes like this. Okay. So it starts to have a bit of a human feeling to it, but it's more kind of like your drawing models. And I'm gonna or cubistic approaches to the figure. If you're shy about nudity, you don't have to get into detail, but I'm just abstracting the body while still looking at the reference. And then I can start to go more into the form, and I can further maybe divide it into, while still thinking about maintaining symmetry, ways that I can approach the symmetry in an interesting fashion. Okay, so maybe I'll just divide the head like so. I'm going to give a feeling for his ripped abdomen or torso. Could even like add planes, give a little feeling for planes, like on his paddle-like feet that I drew. You kind of see the slingshot, sort of like that. Okay, so I've added some pattern and value to my drawing of the David. Certainly doesn't look like the David now in terms of how I've handled the surface, but the whole time that I was working, I kept thinking of, okay, I've got this side and they have symmetry, so I was alternating pattern, value, in order to try to maintain that sense of symmetry while also having some fun with Michelangelo's David. Now for some added fun, I'm going to incorporate simple organizational line drawings using Bernini's David, and I've already sketched one view, and then I just held up the paper so that I could see through it to do a mirror view, so that they're framing Michelangelo's David. And that way you're, I think, really going to be able to compare the different approaches to balance. You can see there's much more sense of movement with Bernini's statue. It's in mid-action. Okay, so I end up with a composition where I have the solid Renaissance figure anchoring the whole piece, whereas the very dynamic Bernini Davids are in motion on each side of him. So I'm going to look at a painting, and this is Raphael's Madonna, and he was known for painting babies. He was really good at babies, and there's his very famous little cherubs. Maybe I'll actually, I think I'll incorporate them maybe into another painting that I already started, kind of the way I did with my sculpture example. So I started this painting based upon a Vermeer, a Baroque artist, and you can see Vermeer's very famous painting, The Girl with the Pearl Earring, and I did a really geometric rendition of this, and for this I incorporated my own just open-ended palette. I used colored pencils, and then I added water, so it's a hybrid drawing watercolor effect. Okay, so I'm going to work on this a little more and add a surprise up there, so that we can see the differences between Renaissance and Baroque approaches to composition.